Hey everyone, and welcome to another deep dive. This time we'll be looking at Confucianism. More specifically, we'll be talking about how a philosophy that's over 2,500 years old can still be relevant in today's world.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing how these ancient ideas still resonate with so many people today.
Right. And we've got some great sources here that really delve into the core principles of Confucianism, its impact on politics and society.
And of course, we have to address some of the criticisms it's faced over the years.
Definitely. So let's start with the basics. What exactly is Confucianism and why should we care about it today?
Well, at its heart, Confucianism is a philosophy and ethical system that originated in ancient China. And it's all about striving for a harmonious and just society.
Okay, a harmonious and just society sounds good to me. But how do we actually achieve that?
Well, that's where the six core principles of Confucianism come in. They provide a framework for how to live a virtuous life and create a more ethical world.
Six core principles. Okay, lay them on me.
The first one is Ren. It's often translated as humaneness, benevolence, or compassion. It's about recognizing the inherent worth and dignity of every human being.
So basically, treating others with kindness and empathy.
Exactly. And this idea is beautifully captured in the Confucian Golden Rule, which says, do not do to others what you do not want done to yourself.
It's amazing how that principle appears in so many different cultures and religions throughout history.
It really is a universal concept, and it speaks to the core of what it means to be human.
So we've got Rin, compassion, and empathy. What's next on the list?
The second principle is Limerick. It emphasizes rituals, propriety, and social etiquette. It's about behaving in a way that shows respect for others and maintains social harmony.
So things like showing respect to your elders, following traditions, and basically just being a decent person in society.
Yeah, you could say that. It's about understanding your place in the social order and acting accordingly.
It sounds a bit like good manners, but with a deeper philosophical meaning.
Precisely. It's not just about following rules blindly. It's about recognizing the importance of social customs and how they contribute to a well-functioning society.
Okay, got it. Ren and Li, compassion and good manners, check. What's the third principle?
The third principle is Shao, which is filial piety. It's all about respecting and honoring your parents, elders, and ancestors.
Ah, yes, filial piety. That's a big one in many Asian cultures.
It certainly is. And Confucianism places a lot of emphasis on the importance of family and respecting those who came before you.
It's like recognizing the sacrifices they made and carrying on their legacy.
Exactly. It's about understanding that you're part of a larger lineage and that you have a responsibility to honor those who came before you.
It makes sense, right? Strong families lead to strong communities. So we've covered compassion, good manners, and family respect. What's next?
All right, the fourth principle is Yi, which is righteousness or justice.
So doing the right thing, even when it's hard.
Exactly. Yi is about having a strong moral compass and always striving to do what's right, even if it means making personal sacrifices.
It's like choosing integrity over personal gain.
Precisely. And Confucianism believes that a just society is built on individuals who are committed to doing the right thing.
It's about having that inner strength to stand up for what you believe in, even when it's unpopular.
Absolutely. Okay, ready for principle number 5?
Get me with it.
This one is Z, which is wisdom or knowledge.
So basically hitting the books and becoming a scholar.
Well, it's more than just accumulating knowledge. It's about using your intelligence to live a virtuous life and to contribute to society.
So it's like knowledge combined with wisdom.
Exactly. It's about understanding the world around you and using that understanding to make ethical choices.
That makes a lot of sense. Education is so important, but it's not just about memorizing facts. It's about applying what you learn to make the world a better place. All right, we're on the last principle. What is it?
The sixth principle is Zhangming, often translated as rectification of names.
Rectification of names. It sounds a bit abstract. What does that even mean?
It's about ensuring that words and titles align with reality. Basically, people should live up to their roles and responsibilities in society.
So if you're a ruler, you should actually rule justly and wisely.
Exactly. And if you're a parent, you should act like a responsible and caring parent. It's about aligning your actions with your words.
It's about authenticity and integrity. Walking the walk, not just talking the talk.
Yes, precisely. And Zhengming is essential for creating a harmonious society where everyone understands their roles and responsibilities.
That makes sense. So to recap, we've got Ren compassion, Li propriety, Xiao filial piety, Yi righteousness, Ji wisdom, and Zemming rectification of names. That's quite a list.
It is. And these 6 principles form the bedrock of Confucian thought. and they've had a profound impact on Chinese culture and beyond.
It's incredible to think how these ideas from over 2,000 years ago can still offer guidance for how we live our lives today.
It really is, and that's why we're here to explore how Confucianism can help us navigate the complexities of the modern world.
So how did these ideas about personal virtue and social harmony actually play out in ancient China? Let's shift gears and explore how Confucianism influenced politics and society.
One of the most fascinating aspects of Confucian political philosophy is the concept of the ideal ruler, the Jinzi.
The Gen Z. Tell me more about that.
Well, the Junzi is a leader who embodies all the Confucian virtues, compassion, wisdom, integrity, and a deep commitment to the well-being of the people.
So not your typical power-hungry tyrant.
Definitely not. The Junzi leads by example, inspiring others to strive for moral excellence.
It's about setting a high standard for yourself and others to follow.
Exactly. And the Gen Z understands that true leadership is about serving the people, not about personal gain.
That's a powerful concept. And it makes me wonder, how does someone become a Gen Z? Is it something you're born with, or can you actually cultivate these qualities?
That's a great question.
Yeah.
And it takes us back to the importance of education and self-cultivation in Confucianism.
So it's not about being perfect from the get-go. It's about constantly learning, growing, and striving to become a better person.
Exactly. It's a lifelong journey of self-improvement. And Confucianism believes that this journey is open to everyone, not just those in positions of power.
That's really inspiring. It means that we all have the potential to become more virtuous and contribute to a more just and harmonious society.
Absolutely. And this idea of self-cultivation is deeply connected to another key concept in Confucianism, the 5 cardinal relationships.
Oh yeah, the 5 cardinal relationships. We touched on those earlier. Can you remind us what they are?
Sure. The 5 cardinal relationships outline the duties and responsibilities we have within different social hierarchies. They include ruler and subject parent and child, husband and wife, older sibling and younger sibling, and friend and friend.
It's about understanding your place in society and how to interact with others in a respectful and harmonious way.
Exactly. And each relationship involves reciprocal obligations. For example, the ruler is expected to be benevolent, and the subject is expected to be loyal.
So it's a two-way street. It's not just about those in authority demanding obedience.
Precisely. Confucianism emphasizes the importance of mutual respect and responsibility within all relationships.
It's about recognizing that we're all interconnected and that our actions have an impact on others.
Exactly. And this interconnectedness is one of the most powerful and enduring ideas in Confucianism.
It's a message that feels incredibly relevant in today's world, where we're facing so many global challenges that require us to work together and think beyond our own individual interests.
Absolutely. And as we continue our exploration of Confucianism, we'll see how these ancient principles can offer valuable insights for addressing the complex issues of our time.
I'm excited to dive deeper into that. But for now, I think we've laid a great foundation for understanding the core principles of Confucianism and its impact on politics and society.
I agree. We've covered a lot of ground, and I'm looking forward to continuing this conversation.
Welcome back, everyone. We're continuing our deep dive into Confucianism. And I don't know about you, but I'm finding this so fascinating. It's really making me think about how these ancient ideas can be applied to our lives today.
Me too. It's amazing how relevant Confucianism still is, even in the 21st century.
Right. Like we talked about in the last part, it's not about following a bunch of rigid rules.
Yeah.
It's more about having this framework for thinking about ethics and social harmony.
Exactly. It's about having a set of guiding principles that you can apply to different situations, even the really tough ones.
And speaking of tough situations, we're living in a world that's full of them, right? Climate change, political polarization, social injustice. It can feel pretty overwhelming sometimes.
It definitely can. But I think Confucianism offers some valuable insights for navigating these challenges.
Oh yeah, like what?
Well, for one thing, Confucianism reminds us that we're all interconnected. Our actions have an impact on others and on the world around us.
So it's not just about looking out for yourself, it's about recognizing that we're all part of something bigger.
Exactly. And that sense of shared responsibility is so important, especially when we're facing global issues that require collective action.
Like taking care of the environment or promoting social justice.
Precisely. And Confucianism also emphasizes the importance of compassion and empathy. Remember, Ren.
Yeah, that was the first principle we discussed. Treating others with kindness and understanding.
Right. And that principle is so crucial for building bridges and finding common ground, even when we disagree with each other.
Especially when we disagree. It feels like we've lost the ability to have civil conversations with people who hold different views.
It does seem that way sometimes. But Confucianism reminds us that even in the midst of conflict, we should strive to treat each other with respect and understanding.
It's about recognizing the humanity in everyone, even those we disagree with.
Exactly. And that can be really challenging, but it's so important for creating a more harmonious and just society.
So how do we actually put these principles into practice? I mean, it's one thing to talk about compassion and interconnectedness, but it's another thing to actually live that way.
That's a great question. And I think one of the most important things is to start with ourselves.
What do you mean?
Well, Confucianism emphasizes the importance of self-cultivation. Remember, it's about constantly striving to become better people, more virtuous, more compassionate, more wise.
So it's like an ongoing process of learning and growth.
Exactly. And as we cultivate these qualities in ourselves, we become better equipped to create positive change in the world around us.
It's like that saying, be the change you want to see in the world.
Precisely. And Confucianism provides a roadmap for how to do that. It gives us a framework for thinking about ethics and for making choices that align with our values.
And one of those values is leadership, right?
Yeah.
We talked about the Junzi in the last part, that ideal ruler who embodies all the Confucian virtues.
Right. And while not everyone is going to be a ruler in the traditional sense, I think the concept of the Junzi can inspire us all to be better leaders in our own lives.
Whether it's at work in our families or in our communities.
Exactly. It's about setting a good example for others and inspiring them to strive for excellence.
It's about leading with compassion and integrity, putting the needs of others before our own.
Precisely. And I think we need that kind of leadership now more than ever.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So Confucianism gives us this framework for personal growth and ethical leadership. But what about the criticisms it's faced over the years? There have been some, right?
Oh, yeah, definitely. And we'll be addressing those in the next part.
All right, welcome back to our final part of our deep dive on Confucianism. You know, we've been talking about these really big ideas, compassion, interconnectedness, leadership. It's all pretty inspiring stuff.
It really is. And it's amazing how these ideas from thousands of years ago can still feel so relevant to our lives today.
Right. But I'm also wondering about something. We talked about all the positive aspects of Confucianism, but haven't there also been some criticisms?
Oh, yeah, definitely. Confucianism has been debated and reinterpreted for centuries. It's not without its controversies.
So let's address those head on. What are some of the main criticisms that Confucianism has faced?
Well, one of the biggest criticisms has been its emphasis on social hierarchy. Remember the 5 cardinal relationships we discussed?
Yeah, the ruler and the subject, parent and child, all that.
Critics argue that this emphasis on hierarchy can reinforce inequality and limit social mobility.
So basically the idea that if you're born into a certain role in society, you're kind of stuck there.
Yeah, some people see it that way. They argue that it can stifle individuality and prevent people from reaching their full potential.
I could see how that could be a problem.
Yeah.
Especially in modern societies that value equality and individual freedom.
Exactly. And that's why Confucianism has been reinterpreted and adapted over time to address these concerns. There are different schools of thought within Confucianism that offer different perspectives on these issues.
So it's not like this monolithic, unchanging philosophy. It's actually evolved over time.
Exactly. It's a living tradition that continues to be debated and reinterpreted even today.
That's actually really cool. It shows that Confucianism isn't just some ancient relic. It's still relevant and evolving along with society.
Absolutely. Another criticism that Confucianism has faced is its focus on tradition and rituals. Some argue that this can lead to a resistance to change and a suppression of new ideas.
So basically, it can be a bit too stuck in the past.
Yeah, some people see it that way. They argue that it can hinder progress and innovation.
But isn't there also value in tradition? Like, doesn't it provide a sense of continuity and stability?
Oh, for sure. Tradition is important. It connects us to our past and gives us a sense of identity. But the key is to find a balance between respecting tradition and embracing change.
Makes sense. So how does Confucianism address this tension between tradition and progress?
Well, it's all about interpretation. Confucian scholars have been grappling with these questions for centuries, and different schools of thought have emerged that emphasize different aspects of Confucianism.
So there's no one right answer. It's more about finding the interpretation that makes the most sense for you and your own values.
Exactly. Confucianism is a rich and complex philosophy that offers a lot of room for different perspectives.
That's really interesting. Makes me want to learn even more about it.
Hmm.
So despite these criticisms, Confucianism continues to be a major influence in many parts of the world, right?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Especially in East Asia, it's had a profound impact on everything from education and politics to art and literature.
It's like it's woven into the fabric of these cultures.
Exactly. And even though it's faced criticisms, it's also inspired movements for social reform and renewal, like the
Hmm.
New Confucianism movement in the 20th century.
What was that all about?
Well, New Confucianism sought to reconcile Confucian values with modern ideas like democracy and human rights.
So basically updating Confucianism for the modern world.
Exactly. And it's a reminder that Confucianism is a dynamic tradition that can adapt and evolve to meet the challenges of different times and places.
That's really inspiring. It shows that ancient wisdom can still offer guidance for us today.
So, as we wrap up our deep dive into Confucianism, what are some key takeaways for our listeners? Well, I think one of the most important takeaways is that Confucianism is all about striving for a more harmonious and just world. It's about cultivating virtue in ourselves and in our relationships with others.
It's about finding a balance between individual freedom and social responsibility.
Exactly. And while Confucianism originated in ancient China, its principles have a universal quality that can resonate with people from all cultures and backgrounds.
It's a philosophy that encourages us to think deeply about our place in the world and to strive to make a positive impact.
And to never stop learning and growing.
Absolutely. So thank you everyone for joining us on this deep dive into Confucianism. We hope you found it as fascinating and thought-provoking as we did.
We encourage you to keep exploring these ideas and to see how they might apply to your own life and your own quest for a more meaningful and fulfilling existence.
And remember, the path to a better world starts with each one of us.